From Nashville, Tennessee, it's Country Music Time, brought to you by your local Air Force recruiter and this radio station. Now here are the stars of this week's show, the Wilburn Brothers.
Things down at my house just ain't going right. I'm gonna tie one on tonight. I'm sick and tired of coming home and that gal ain't in sight. I'm gonna tie one on tonight.
Here's my baby brother.
I wonder what she does all day. I wonder where she goes. When I get home, she's always gone, dressed in her best clothes. I'm going out and live it up, chase every girl in sight. I'm gonna tie one on tonight. Ah, Buddy Spiker likes the fiddle. Jimmy Crawford. David Rigg, let's hear some piano. Here's Billy Sanders.
Listen to Bobby Moore walking that bass fiddle.
My baby, she's out on the town, and I think just for spite, I'm gonna tie one on tonight. She thinks she's gonna worry me, but I'll show her all right. I'm gonna tie one on tonight. I'm gonna dance with all the girls, have myself a spree. Then I'll get home and I'll find her there crying over me. When I come in at 3 a.m. there'll probably be a fight, but I'm gonna tie one on tonight. I'm gonna tie one on tonight.
Wish I'd said that. Teddy and Doyle, the Wilburn Brothers, welcome to Country Music Time.
It's good to be back, Chuck.
It all started out a long time ago, didn't it? And I think it was in, Thayer, Missouri?
No, Hardy, Arkansas was our home, and Thayer, Missouri is where we made our first appearance, on the street corners for tip money.
Yeah, I read in your one of these funny little sheets that they make out on you, the biographies and all that.
Uh-huh.
And I read that your father, when you were 6 and 7 years old, bought you a couple of guitars and had you go out on the street corner and sing. What possessed him to do that?
There was 5 of us, 4 boys and a girl. And our dad knew that he couldn't feed us properly and clothe us properly, educate us properly on a little rocky farm in Arkansas. So he saw a group, the Rhodes family, on the streets in Hardy. Their car had broken down, and he had taken a load of cross-cut ties to town, to the tie yard, and he saw them working to get enough money from tips on the sidewalk to get their car fixed so they could get on home. They were from Missouri, and I don't remember the name of the town. And on his way home that night, he said, well, if Mr. Rhodes can do that with his kids, I can do it with mine.
That's what gave him the idea. Of course, Doyle and I started out with mandolins. Our 2 older brothers and sister, they took the fiddle and the guitars. But he ordered them from a mail-order house and used to build 2 big square dance floors out between 3 oak trees in our backyard, and would invite the neighbors over for square dances. Would go into town and buy a 50 or 100-pound chunk of ice and make homemade ice cream and
red soda pop
and ice down some red soda pop. And
our closest neighbor was 2 miles away.
But anyway, they'd come from all over, and he would get us used to being around people that way before we made that first appearance in Thayer, Missouri.
What influenced your style of music, and you've pretty much stuck to that all your career?
Well, Teddy and I do the authentic country music. The people that's called country today are not country. They use country as a stepping stone to get their foot in the door, and then they don't even want to be called country anymore.
I guess where we would have gotten our style would have been from artists like the Callahan Brothers and listening to the Monroe Brother records, which we had back on the farm, and the Carter Family records, things like that. And I guess if we have a style, that it probably came from a combination of the Carter's harmony, the Monroe harmony, and the Callahan Brothers and people like that.
And you're probably the only people who was ever, I guess, more or less asked that to leave the Grand Ole Opry. You had to, not because you weren't good, but because you were too young.
Yes, that's true.
But go back to it, you did, and you've been Grand Ole Opry stars now for a long, long time.
Yeah, long enough that I believe that we joined the Grand Ole Opry the same year they discovered popcorn.
Teddy, we joined the Grand Ole Opry before Hitler was corporal.
Let's take time out again now and listen to another song from your latest album, is it not?
All righty, this is If I Can't Have All of You.
I love it when you're with me. I want you with me all of the time. You're just what I've been looking for to satisfy a burning need of mine. And I don't want to share you now with someone who thinks that you still care. But if I can't have all of you, just give me what you think is fair. I'll be standing in the shadows, holding back the love I have for you. But it's hard not to let it show every time I see him holding you. And when I see the two of you, part of you pretends that I'm not there. But if I can't have all of you, just give me what you think is fair. Just a little part of you, that's all that I'm asking. I know that having all of you just may not ever be. But I love it when you're with me. I want you with me all of the time. You're just what I've been looking for to satisfy a burning need of mine. And I don't want to share you now with someone who thinks that you still care. But if I can't have all of you, just give me what you think is fair. If I can't have all of you, just give me what you think is fair.
There are a lot of ways to play it.
Off we go into the wild blue. Off we go into the wild. Off we go into the wild blue yonder.
But there's only one way to say it. The U.S. Air Force, an organization committed to the service of our country and devoted to giving men and women outstanding career opportunities. Whether you've just graduated from high school or have a college degree, the Air Force may have a place for you. We'll give you training and experience that money just can't buy, and a great way of life that includes 30 days of vacation with pay each year. Visit or call the Air Force recruiting office near you. There's no obligation, and you just might find out about an Air Force program that's perfect for you. You'll find the address and phone number in the white pages under U.S. Government.
Nothing will stop the U.S. Air Force.
others. And I swear I never meant for that to change. But I must admit that something's come between us, and I still love you just as much, 'cause I know you're not to blame. But I know goodbye when I see one. We're not making love, now we just make believe. I know a goodbye when I see one, and you sure look like a goodbye to me. It's not hard, I can feel all of the warnings, but the fool in me keeps hoping that I'm wrong. And tonight just brings me closer to the morning, when I wake up here all alone and I find you're finally gone. 'Cause I know a goodbye when I see one. We're not making love, now we just make believe. I know a goodbye when I see one, and you sure look like a goodbye to me. And when I look into your eyes, goodbye is all I see.
And another great song, as they all are. I don't think I've ever heard, and I don't say this because you're sitting here in front of me, but I don't think I've ever heard a Wilburn Brothers song that I didn't like.
I have.
Thank you, Chuck.
You have? Well, I tell you, we've talked about a little bit about your early beginnings and covered a little bit of the territory, but what have you been up to since the last time you were here on Country Music Time?
We've been around the country, you know. You're from down in Texas, aren't you?
Sure am.
We've been down in Texas a lot of times since we saw you. Oklahoma, just got back from Michigan a couple of days ago. And working the Grand Ole Opry.
Well, Teddy and Doyle, it has been a pleasure having you on Country Music Time. It seems like, in one sense of the word, time passes so fast, but we look back and people that we really want to get on the show haven't been here for 2-3 years. And it's been far too long since you were on the show, and I hope that we can get you back without having to wait that long again.
All righty. Thank you, Chuck.
Okay. Country Music Time was recorded live in Nashville, Tennessee, and was brought to you by your local Air Force recruiter and this radio station. Technical direction by Pete Franquet. Engineering by Bill Vorndick. This is Air Force Sergeant Chuck Hawsey saying thanks again to the Wilburn brothers and reminding you to contact your local Air Force recruiter to get more details about the Air Force experience. It could be your ticket to a great way of life.